They say the land remembers. I used to think that was just some old rancher's poetry until the morning my soil trembled like it was trying to tell me something. I was out by the south fence mending a stubborn post that had given up after last week's storm when I noticed a pair of SUVs parked on the gravel road that runs near Old Rockridge. City slicker vehicles, glossy, out of place. From the slope I had a perfect view. 3 men in suits pointing across the field like they owned it. One of them pulled out a blueprint. Another took a call and waved toward my barn like he was ordering drywall. I whistled for Duke, my shepherd, and we made our way down. I wasn't mad yet, just confused. But as I got closer, I heard one of them say, "We'll need to clear that structure before laying foundation. Permits should be finalized next week." I cleared my throat. All 3 turned, startled. The youngest of them, hair gelled back, shoes worth more than my month's feed, flashed a smile. "You must be the caretaker," he said. "Mind if we look around?" HOA's already approved everything. I stared blankly at him for a moment. Then I laughed. A real honest-to-God belly laugh. "Caretaker?" "No," I said. "I'm Elijah Boone. I own this land. Have since my daddy passed. Before that, it was my granddaddy's since 1897. So, I'll ask again, who the hell are you?" He blinked. The smile faltered. "Mr. Boone, there must be a misunderstanding. According to the HOA deed transfer, there is no deed transfer." I cut in. "This land's never been under any homeowners association. Closest thing we have to governance around here is a fence, and she don't answer emails." The air changed. The tallest of the 3 stepped forward, his tone shifting from slick to sharp. "Well, I suggest you contact your lawyer. Fast." They left with a lot less swagger than they came in with. That night, I called Hank, my attorney for the past 10 years, and asked him to dig. I didn't sleep much. Something was off. My land did feel different, like it had been touched without permission. A week later, Hank drove up my long gravel road, white as a ghost. He didn't even wait to come inside. "Eli," he said, eyes wide, voice dry, "you know your ranch? It's been listed for sale through legal channels with signatures and permits, and you're not just losing a few acres. They're claiming the whole damn ranch." My knees nearly gave. Duke leaned against me like he felt it too. "Listed by who?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He looked at me like he couldn't believe it himself. "The HOA of Cypress Glen." Cypress Glen, the development that popped up 5 years ago on the far edge of my south pasture. The HOA that sent me a flyer once asking if I wanted to be a community sponsor. I used it to line my chicken coop. Now they were claiming to own everything. I walked out onto my porch, stared out across the landfields I'd plowed, lakes I'd fished with my boys, trees my great-granddad planted, and I whispered to the wind like a promise. "No one's taking this from me." Hank's hands trembled as he spread the documents across my kitchen table. He brought a full box. Folders, maps, copies of filings, even a glossy brochure showing a visionary mixed-use community built on the tranquil Boone Basin. My name was in none of it. "They've been planning this for years, Elijah," he said, voice tight. "See this?" He pointed to a scan of a plat map. They redrew the parcel lines subtly, bit by bit. Every year or so, just enough to avoid scrutiny. You wouldn't notice unless you compared it to the original county map from before 2015. "And the signatures?" I asked. Hank didn't answer at first. He simply slid a printed deed transfer toward me. My eyes landed on the signature. "My name? That's not mine." "No," he said grimly, "but it passed. Filed in county records 3 years ago. Backdated, witnessed by a notary who conveniently moved out of state 6 months later." I felt like I'd been punched in the ribs. Hank kept digging. "We found the pattern." It started small a sliver of creek land adjacent to Cypress Glen. Then another plat adjustment folded into a landscaping easement. Then came zoning applications citing merged parcels. It was like watching termites eat through oak. Slow, invisible, and catastrophic. They'd pulled a slow-motion land grab and it almost worked. "I never signed a goddamn thing," I muttered, heart pounding. "How could this go through?" "Because it's boring," Hank said flatly. "No one looks at land transfers unless there's a dispute. They slipped through under the radar. And now they've got city council backing, builder contracts, and permits stacked like bricks. That's when I stopped thinking like a farmer and started thinking like a general. I called in two old friends from college. Dale, a boundary surveyor who owed me a favor, and Yvonne, a ruthless title researcher who'd cut her teeth chasing corporate fraud. I gave them full access. By the end of the week, they were sending me photos of field markers illegally repositioned, GPS data that contradicted HOA maps, and archived footage from county meetings showing Cypress reps pushing proposals on underutilized tracks. A euphemism for my family's land. But nothing prepared me for what I found myself. On a cloudy Tuesday, I drove to the county clerk's office to request the original deed my grandfather had filed in 1959, the one that confirmed full ownership of all 8,000 acres. When the woman behind the desk returned from the vault, she looked puzzled. "There's a note on this," she said. "Your deed was reclassified as inactive due to new boundary delineations filed in 2020. Reclassified under HOA management." I stared at her. "You mean it was buried?" She hesitated, then nodded. It hit me then. This wasn't just theft. It was a rewrite of history, a bureaucratic erasure of my legacy. I walked out of the building, gripping the manila folder like a loaded weapon. The rain started to fall, soft at first, then harder, like the land was crying with me. But I didn't cry. I couldn't afford to. I stood by my truck, looking back at that white stone building, and I said aloud, "If they used paper to steal it, I'll use truth to take it back." And that night, I didn't sleep. I planned. I printed every map, dug up every deed, and covered the walls of my barn with aerial photos and historic surveys. I wasn't just fighting a scam. I was preparing for siege. And I was far from finished. The next morning, I called a town hall meeting. They say the land remembers. I used to think that was just some old rancher's poetry until the morning my soil trembled like it was trying to tell me something. I was out by the south fence mending a stubborn post that had given up after last week's storm when I noticed a pair of SUVs parked on the gravel road that runs near Old Rockridge. City slicker vehicles, glossy, out of place. From the slope, I had a perfect view. 3 men in suits pointing across the field like they owned it. One of them pulled out a blueprint. Another took a call and waved toward my barn like he was ordering drywall. I whistled for Duke, my shepherd, and we made our way down. I wasn't mad yet, just confused. But as I got closer, I heard one of them say, "We'll need to clear that structure before laying foundation. Permits should be finalized next week." I cleared my throat. All 3 turned, startled. The youngest of them, hair gelled back, shoes worth more than my month's feed, flashed a smile. "You must be the caretaker," he said. "Mind if we look around?" HOA's already approved everything. I stared blankly at him for a moment. Then I laughed. A real honest-to-God belly laugh. "Caretaker?